So obviously with the launch of Season 1 in Battlefield 2042, we got some new content in the game finally, and most of the stuff that people tend to focus on is the new specialist, the new map, the battle pass and all those sorts of things. But on top of that, we did also get a couple of new weapons, a new gadget in the smoke grenade launcher, there is actually a new scope that came along with the BSVM, and obviously Lise, the new specialist, she does have a new type of rocket launcher as well. So today I wanted to go through and essentially just test some of that new content that has almost been a little bit forgotten about, just because obviously the map and the battle pass and all those sorts of things are the main focus, and I essentially just wanted to test how some of these things work, because obviously in this game not everything is always explained all that well. What we're going to be going through in this video is testing whether that new scope actually has any glare. If you guys have seen, I've already done a video essentially testing which scopes give off glare, so we're going to be testing that. We're also going to test the difference in the smoke grenade launcher compared to the regular smoke grenades, as well as the Scar's underbarrel smoke grenade, and then lastly I did also want to test the new rocket launcher for Lise and test that against both the APS Sentinel, and then also just sort of test the vehicle damage, because I do know that different types of vehicles actually take different types of damage, and so we're going to be going through all of that in this video. Now if you guys are new to the channel, definitely hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications, and if you do enjoy this type of content, be sure to leave a like down below. But with that being said, let's get stuck right into it. So I'm not actually too sure who left the comment, but one of you legends left a comment asking if I could test the new scope that came along with the BSVM and whether or not that has any glare, and that's essentially sort of sparked the idea for this video, because I knew there was other stuff I wanted to test too. So the first thing that we're going to be testing is whether this new scope gives off glare. Now technically it should, according to the previous video that I did, the 4x and up scopes on the marksman rifles, I believe they were the ones that gave off glare, and it did sort of vary depending on the weapon. So for example, the assault rifles, I think they were 4x and up, or maybe it was definitely at least the 6x and up, and it was pretty much the same with the sniper rifles. If you guys want the detailed breakdown of that, I do have the whole video going through all of these scopes in the game. But yeah, today I wanted to test whether the new one, which is a 5x scope, whether that actually has sniper glare or not. Now, firstly, to show you what I mean, I've gone through with the SWS and I've shown you the 6x scope here, and as you can see, every time I zoom in with that scope, the opponent can see me looking directly at them, and then as you sort of drag it across the screen, eventually it goes out of sort of the range that it will show the glare, and then obviously the closer you get to the enemy, the more that they will be able to see it. Now, as you can see, when I did test this with the BSVM, it actually doesn't give off any glare at all, and when you think about it, this is only 1 time smaller than that SWS scope. That was a 6x scope, and this is a 5x scope, so it doesn't give off any glare at all, which is definitely handy to know. However, I did also test the 6x scope on that same weapon, and it does not give off any glare at all. So take this with a grain of salt, but I do believe they may have actually changed the way that the glare works, and essentially the video that I made, that may actually be redundant. It almost feels like there is only actually sniper glare on the snipers now and not on any other weapon. I did also test the AC-42, and again, as you can see, there is actually no glare there, which in the past there was actually glare on the assault rifles. So take that with a grain of salt. I haven't actually gone through and tested all of them, but if you guys do want to see that and you want to see me go through and test all of those again, because like I said, that video may actually be redundant now, then definitely let me know down in the comments and I can definitely get around to that eventually. All in all though, you guys can rest assured that the new 5x scope for the BSVM does not give off any sniper glare at all, so that is definitely very handy to know. Now, the next thing that I wanted to test was actually just the new smoke grenade. I mostly just wanted to test whether 1, it was any thicker than the previous smoke grenades, 2, whether it lasted longer or shorter than the other smoke grenades, and then also just show a comparison, because obviously if you guys have used it, it does sort of break up into 3 little grenades, so I essentially just wanted to see the difference between the two. Now, as you guys can see here, we are comparing both the regular smoke grenade, which is just the one that you can equip for any specialist in the game, and then right next to that you can also see the new grenade launcher, which definitely gives off a bigger area, which was kind of to be expected because like I said, it breaks up into 3 parts. What I will say though is it doesn't seem to be any thicker than the previous smoke. It's only bigger in area because obviously there are 3, and then as for the time that it's active as well, it seems to be the exact same time. I haven't actually timed it down to the very millisecond or anything like that, but just from the eye test it does seem to be identical to the regular smoke grenade. Now previously the underbarrel smoke grenade for the Scar was also playing up a little bit. It was essentially just not as strong as the regular one. It was like half as thick and it was essentially completely useless, but they seem to have changed that in, I guess, update 4.0 or 4.1, and as you can see now, that is essentially the exact same as the regular smoke grenade. So not too much to learn here. It is pretty much all as expected. They all seem to have the exact same active time. They all seem to be exactly as thick as each other, and then obviously the new smoke grenade launcher, that obviously splits up into 3 bits, so technically that is better than the other ones. It covers more area, but it isn't really that much of a difference. Now, in my opinion, this makes this not all that worth using. Personally, I think you can pretty much bring any other gadget in the game and it's going to be more worthwhile for you to use those instead, simply because you can just bring along that smoke grenade anyway, and that is pretty much as good. It's not quite as big of an area, but in my opinion, it's not really worth sort of losing a gadget just for a slightly bigger area for that smoke grenade. So that was mostly why I wanted to test this, just to sort of see if it was like really, you know, like way bigger and it was definitely worth bringing along. But for me personally, this has kind of shown that the smoke grenade launcher, while it can definitely be handy, I think it is best to just bring a regular gadget and then bring along those smoke grenades anyway. Now, the last thing that I wanted to test was Lise, the new specialist, and her rocket launcher. And there was two things that I wanted to test. One, I wanted to test this against Irish's APS Sentinel, and then I also wanted to just sort of test the difference between the damage from a tank to a chopper. Now, I don't know if this is a bug, I don't know if something has gone wrong here, but as you can see, the APS Sentinel does not shoot down Lisa's rocket launcher. As you can see, I've also thrown a smoke grenade and it does shoot that down, so it's not like this APS was just like broken or something like that. It definitely was still working in this play session, but as you can see multiple times here, when I am firing that rocket launcher, it's actually hitting it directly and blowing it up, or even when I shoot it past it, it isn't like stopping it along the way or anything like that. It just goes straight past it and it actually deals damage to Irish. So like I said, I'm not too sure if that's a bug or if that is like intentional. Personally, I think it should stop the new rocket launcher. I don't see any reason why this one should be essentially unstoppable, especially the fact that it's player controlled. That is a little bit overpowered in a way. So I did find this to be kind of weird, but again, I'm not sure if this is actually just like a bug or something like that. There is every chance that maybe this is just currently bugged and it's meant to be working, but just in the current build of the game, I'm not too sure. So I will be raising that with EA. I'm going to send that through to the devs just to sort of double check whether they actually meant it or not. But at least as of right now, you guys can see that the APS Sentinel does not stop that new rocket launch. Now, the very last test, like I said, I just wanted to test the damage against a tank compared to a chopper. When the season launched, I did hear that they were doing a lot more damage against choppers. Now, as you can see, I have parked down the chopper there and I've actually shot it right at the side of it, and this actually deals 80 damage per shot. So this new rocket launcher is essentially a two-shot kill against pretty much any air vehicle in the game. I did test this on different choppers and it was all the same. Obviously, the choppers are a lot harder to hit, so I'd imagine that's why this is the case. They're almost impossible if they're too close, and even when you're firing them at like long range, it's pretty hard to hit choppers at times unless they're pretty stationary. So it's not like this is really overpowered or anything like that, but that is a lot of damage to be dealing against choppers. So if you guys do enjoy playing as Lise, then definitely try and make the most of that and take out a couple of choppers. Now, in comparison, I did also test this against a tank, and as you can see, it actually only deals 26 damage to a tank, and I did test that from both the front, the side, and the top of the vehicle as well. But then if you actually hit the rear of the tank, it will deal 40 damage. So even when you hit it in its weak spot, it's still more than a two-shot kill. It's going to take you 3 of these rockets, or obviously if you can bring along some C5, or if you're playing as Sundance and you have the anti-vehicle grenades, then all of those in combination can kind of make it like a 2-hit kill. But from the rocket launcher itself, it will only deal 40 damage per shot at a maximum, and pretty much from every other angle, it's going to deal 26 damage. So as you can see, they're definitely a lot less effective against ground vehicles, and again, I think that is for balancing. They kind of mentioned that that was the case when the season launched, but I thought that was worth showing off anyway. I know a lot of people probably didn't know that, and so you're probably dealing heaps of damage to choppers, and then when you're shooting at a tank, you're kind of wondering why this is going on, and so at least you guys now know that they are essentially meant to deal less damage against tanks. So anyway, guys, that is pretty much it for all of these tests. There wasn't too much to go through, but this is essentially just testing all of that sort of new stuff that we got in Season 1. Apologies that it's taken so long. It's been nearly a month now of Season 1, so it has taken me a good minute. Life has been pretty crazy lately, so I haven't had as much time. But with that being said, if there's any other stuff that you guys want me to test out, definitely let me know down in the comments. I always love doing sort of these like almost Mythbusters type of videos, so any stuff like this that you guys want to see, definitely let me know down below, and I'll do my best to cover those in a future video. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below. If you're new to the channel, then definitely hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. And if you want to support the content that I make here on YouTube, then consider becoming a channel member. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you all out there on the battlefield.